Okay, so for the take it further, I use building on earlier solutions. And it's talking about the light bulb. And many of us have heard about Thomas Edison and how he created the light bulb. So this is just more looking at the different solutions that they tested in order to do the light bulb. Some of you may have heard that they had many different tests that they did, that they actually worked 1,000 times to get that to work. So Edison and his team brainstormed and actually tried 1,000 times before they got that light bulb. So how would the light bulb have been affected if the electrical supply system had not been developed? So thinking about if they could only create one, like if they could only create light bulbs, but it couldn't plug into anything, how would that have been an issue? So the light bulb is an amazing invention. It would not have helped as much if there was no electrical supply system. People would be able to light things, but they would not be able to have systems of lights and electrical lights for different purposes. Right, so we use a lot of different lights for a lot of different purposes. If we just had separate light bulbs that all needed their own energy source, it wouldn't be as useful as the connectors that we now have for the system to be able to use more. Explain how Edison and his team used test evidence from a failed test to be able to. So basically, it's asking why, like all that testing they did, that 1,000 different tests that they did, why was that something that was important, and how did they use the evidence? So Edison and his team tested the light bulb many times. Every time there was a failure, they learned what they didn't need to test again, and they learned what parts of the light bulb to keep. So they kind of learned what to change out, what to change in to try again. So it helped them to narrow down what materials and things that they needed to be able to be successful in the end. So they just kept having these tests and then taking out little pieces, changing little things until finally the light bulb would light. Brainstorming was not used in Edison's time, but the description of his research showed that he used that technique. So Edison asked his team for solutions and then tried the solutions that had the best designs. That is the idea behind brainstorming and group work. That shows that Edison was brainstorming, and also that he believed in having a team as something that would help him to get to the best solution. Okay, working with your team about impacts of society. Now we're going to do a lesson self-check after taking it further. So we don't have to do hands-on lab or data to make decisions or a study guide just because you've chosen to do the light bulb. So you can skip the other ones. Now that we're on lesson self-check, we have to ask, can you explain it? So we're going back to the kite and we're explaining our claim for how we would get the kite out of the sky. So in order to get the kite out of the sky, the solution would be to take a ladder and put it against the tree, then have a person lift the kite up off the branches and through the branches so that it does not get destroyed and can come down from the tree. Okay, there's our solution. You gotta take a ladder, you gotta put it against a tree, person has to climb up the ladder, lift the kite off the branches and go through the branches so it doesn't get destroyed and come down from the tree. Okay, and like, why did we decide on this? The criteria was to not have the kite be destroyed, and it would be destroyed if a person on the ground just yanked on the string. The criteria was also to keep people safe. So the ladder is safer than someone trying to climb the tree. The constraints was that we have to use the right tools and we don't have a lot of time to get the kite, but there wasn't a limit put on time and materials. So the ladder works as a solution that won't damage the kite and will keep people safe. All right. So that was can you explain it? We're going to move on to a checkpoint. You can always pause or go back. Answer the following questions. How does ranking criteria help them to design a better helmet? So when they're looking at a helmet and they look at criteria, how does that really help them? So you're thinking about helmet and you're thinking about, how do I want this helmet to fit? So does it rank constraints? Because constraints are the same as criteria. Well, we know that constraints and criteria are not the same, so we wouldn't choose that one. It identifies the most important criteria that a solution must meet. Yes, because you want the helmet, the whole important piece is that it keeps your head safe, right? So that's going to be easier to find a solution for because it developed the most important criteria. It helps in accessing several different solutions that could meet the criteria. Yes, it helps you kind of naturally get some solutions out. It eliminates solutions that don't meet the constraints. Well, we haven't identified the constraints yet. It's more about the criteria. Exactly. So then when we're talking about calligraphy, that is a tool for just making really, really little marks. And that's really important for any kind of writing where you need to do small marks, and you can use different kinds of pens. So they want you to identify what would help to have the very best calligraphy pen. So see if they meet the criteria of your writing problem. Yes, they have to meet the criteria, right, to be the best. Identify pens that don't meet your constraints. I don't know, they're asking about identify the best criteria, so I'm going to skip that for now. Test the pens to see which one meets the criteria. Yes. Rank the criteria in order of importance if you want the solution to be successful. Yes. So it's not really about identifying what doesn't meet the constraints. It's more about what meets the criteria. So you identify the criteria, you can test the pen and rank the criteria in order to you're going to learn constraints from that. So just A, C, and D would be the best.
Research is useful for deciding what solutions to test. And when you are choosing types, test results provide data that can be evaluated.
Great. Why is using models important? Why should you make a model and test something? Why not just decide that you're going to theoretically test it and just decide if it's going to work or not? They can brainstorm better ideas. I mean, that's not part of making a model at all, so I wouldn't choose that. They allow design solutions to be tested when the actual solution can't be tested. Yes. It allows for actual testing, right? They allow design solutions to be tested in a systematic way. Yes. Their use provides engineers with lots of data. Yes, it does. It does all of those things except for A. It doesn't help a brain with the test. Okay. A team of students is designing a robot. They select 3 ideas. Which statement describes the steps the team might take to identify the best robot design? So if you remember, they were talking about the process. They've already got the problem. They've already done their research. They've already picked their top ideas. So what is the steps they take from there? Should they build and test the model of each design? Should they choose a team leader? Team leader has nothing to do with it. So I'm going to go with A. Evaluate test designs for each design and see how each one meets the criteria and constraints. Oh, always. If it ever says like you're worrying about the criteria and constraints, yes, you always have to think about both when you're in the testing piece. Use the design that looks best. No, you would never just choose the one that's like the prettiest. You want to make sure you're actually testing and building and testing the actual models to see if the criteria and constraints were identified and if they were met.
Engineering design processes rely on the testing and evaluation of possible solutions, analyzing the data from tests, and incorporating the results of tests to improve the design of the solution.
Awesome. So then after checkpoints is interactive review. That's the very last piece of this because we don't have to make our own study guide. So engineering, they want us to complete the statements. A decision matrix is helpful in selecting a solution. We already have our question. We're trying to find a solution because engineering is all about solutions. All right. It provides a way to compare several ideas, not just 2, and rank them based on how well they address the criteria. All right, so then now we're back to our egg drop. What or why is analyzing data important to improve the design? Like, why do you really need to analyze data before you just kind of test things out? Does it allow engineers to identify variables? Yes. Does it allow engineers to determine similarities and differences? Yes. Does it allow engineers to determine the constraints? Not always, because this is still about analyzing, it's not about testing. Analyzing data allows engineers to identify variables that do not improve or could harm. Yes, you can figure out what's going to harm it. But really, when it says analyzing data helps them determine constraints of the design solution, that's tricky. And the reason I wouldn't choose that one is because it's all about criteria when you're analyzing data. It's not about constraints yet.
Interesting.
Yes, all the criteria and constraints happen before the actual analyzing of data. Okay, so that's going to be the end of lesson 3. So we're going to move on to lesson 4 in a different video.